Shalom Aleichem, sweetest friends. We are continuing our shir on the topic of Kinyan, Arba, Minim. And we started off, we saw the big chiddush of the Machane Ephraim, who says that since according to the Rambam, Kinyan D'Oraisa, Kinyan D'Rabbanan is not effective for D'Oraisa, meaning that we see he paskins that a cotton, even though it's hakna, is a good hakna midrabanan, it doesn't help for the mitzvah d'oraisa. So therefore, Hamakadish Isha with a chayfet said he was only kohen kin d'rabanan, it's not mekadesh d'oraisa. He showed him machlokas rishonim b'cham mekomos, and then he said that you're a kohen of the esrog without money. You only pay after yontiv. It's no good because not lachem. If you need lachem d'oraisa, you have to make a kinyan d'oraisa with mos, and it's not good just to do the kinyan d'rabbanan of Mashiach. That was how we started the previous shir, and we want to be miyashev the minog, not necessarily to give the mos before yantif. So we have a stira on the Rambam. The Machane Ephraim is already omed in the stira linyan lula of the Rambam paskins that since the cotton is not makam midin Torah, since a cotton is not makne midin Torah, the gadol is not yotze b'yom tov rishon because kinyan d'rabbanan is not effective for d'oraisa. However, with respect to me'ilah, the Rambam paskins in Perek Vov halacha dalet of Hilchos me'ilah shehamashil kardom shel hekdesh ma'al. If a person lends a shovel of hekdesh, he's moel. And then v'chaver mutal of koba lechatchila. Now is already yotzei lechulin, and then his friend is allowed to use it lechatchila. So we see that even though the shoel was only konen midir that they were metakin mishicha b'shomrim, nevertheless the me'ilah is d'oraisa. So the second he gives it to him and he's konen it for a sheila, it's me'ilah d'oraisa. It's only kinder rabbanan, and the Rambam holds kinder rabbanan is not good for d'oraisa. So how is it me'ilah d'oraisa? So answers the Machane Ephraim that gabe me'ilah kol she'otziu merishus l'rishus afilu b'kinyan d'rabbanan arei yotzei merishus hekdesh. If you take it from rishus to rishus, even b'kinyan d'rabbanan, it's out of rishus hekdesh, and therefore me'ilah is different than normally kinyan d'rabbanan is not good for d'oraisa, but here it is because he took it out of rishus hekdesh even b'kinyan d'rabbanan. What's pshat in the chiluk? That even if kinyan d'rabbanan is not effective for d'oraisa, that's only linian balus be'etzem. That minat Torah, it's not his be'etzem, it's not called lachem. But when the discussion is befal, even midoraisa, we consider it that it's yotzei rishus l'rishus. So me'ilah, where the kovea is the chalois hoitzah me'hekdesh befal, even hoitzah midrabanan is considered hoitzah midoraisa, because there we look at the befal, practically what's happening. Because so the Torah said to listen to the Chachamim, and they said that Mashiach is koneh. So linan hanaga ma'asit, even min haTorah hachefetz avar l'rshut acheret. Aval כשאנחנו מדברים על הבעלות בעצם, we're talking about owning it, essentially, really it belonging to you. There we say that min haTorah the bailas wasn't mishtane, and therefore linyan lulav, where you need lachem, it doesn't help to make a kinyan midrabanan. So it's muchach that the Machane Ephraim learns that the din lachem is not only a geder ba'ofen hanatila, that the lakicha should be lakichas adam es shalo, but rather it is a din b'fnei atzmo, that we require that the minim should belong to him, because if it's mashu b'tziyuti, so you're taking yours lamaisa ba'an haga b'fol, it's yours, but no, you need that be'etzim, it should be yours. This would seem to be a machlokas rishonim. The Rashbam and Bava Basra Kuf Lamed Zayin learns that a lulav that's acquired to a person kinyan peiros bilvad, in other words, it's his linyan shimush bo mitzvahs netila. That's called lachem. That's called lachem. Even if you have a kinyan peiros, that's enough. But others hold it's not. So l'chora the machlokas is lachem a din b'minim that they should be his, or is it a geder b'netila that it should be lakichas lachem? And according to that, according to the second side, even if it's not yours, bad, it's himself in a bailus al and netila, it's yours. It's netila shelo. You don't need bailus b'etzem, but the Machane Ephraim learns no, you need bailus b'etzem. It's not just Sivyan Hanatilo, but it has to be yours be'etzem. That was parenthetical. So this chiluk, that a kinyan d'Rabbanan is effective for d'oraisa, linyan bailus b'foal, and not linyan bailus be'etzem, is a chiluk klali be'ikar hanidon shel geder dinim midrabanan ve'ashpasam kapi d'oraisa. B'siyata d'shmaya, we've had shiur and we've discussed the mashashpa of dinim d'Rabbanan and dinim d'oraisa. So this inyan of bailus b'foal as opposed to bailus be'etzem is a chiluk klali in this discussion, in this topic, in this issue of the gather of dinim d'Rabbanan mashpasam kapi d'oraisa, because it's a big yisod of Reb Shimon in the Shari Yosher. Yishar Aleph O Zayin, look also in the Kovetz Haaretz Ches Tesvav, that Isurei Torah are Isurei Chefza, and Isurei D'Rabbanan are Isurei Gavra. In other words, mitzad, that a person's chayav to listen to the Chachamim, it's Asur, but it's not an Isur Be'etzem. When the rabbis say that a food's not kosher, it's not that the food is essentially, the chayfetz of the food is not kosher, but rather the fact that you're not listening to them is what's not kosher. So that's the Isurei Gavra, whereas when the Torah says it's not kosher, the chayfetz of the food isn't kosher. And this Yisod explains numerous halachas and inyanim. L'dugma, the Nesivis learns that if a person is over an Isser Rabbanan b'shkaga, he doesn't require a kapara, and his reason is because the Isser is hamra al piem. But if he does an Isser Rabbanan b'shogeg, that he's not rebelling against the rabbis. This is to rebel against the rabbis. That's the Isser Rabbanan. So if you're doing it b'shogeg, you're doing the Isser b'shogeg, you're not rebelling against the rabbis. Because Yibachal didn't know you were doing the Isser, so therefore, Isserei D'Rabbanan don't require kapara, because he didn't do an Isser Chefza, he just did an Isser Gavra, and the Isser Gavra is not to listen to Chum, to rebel against Chum. You didn't know, you're not rebelling. So the Nesivis is not Muskam ala Kol. There are many who argue, because it could be that even D'Rabbanan, even if he did it accidentally, when I tell my kids not to do something, I mean don't do it on purpose, and don't do it accidentally either. So that's what the Rabbanan meant also. And not only that, Midrabanan there's a cheftzah d'isur, even though Midaraisa it's mutter. Like chelev akum, that the rabbis aser, ochlo eino dome, loochel kodem kiddush hayom. Person that eats kodem kiddush hayom, that food is not a cheftzah d'isur d'Rabbanan. But chelev akum it's a cheftzah d'isur d'Rabbanan. Mashen ken achila kodem kiddush, nevertheless, so that's, one could argue it's a cheftzah d'isur d'Rabbanan, and that the rabbis meant even b'shogeg. Nevertheless, the ikar svaras hanesivus is built on the fact that with respect to the Deoraisa perspective, Isur b'shedirabanan are Isurim hanhagatiim velo Isurim be'etzem. It's a hanhaga, but it's not an essential Isur. Okay? So that's very important for us to understand. Isurim d'Rabbanan are not Isurim be'etzem, rather Isurim and hanhaga. With that, we can also answer the kasha of the Maharshal in the Chachas Shlomo on Ksubis Lamed Daled Amud Aleph. Binyan Darvish Eino Roy Midrabanan. Is it considered Eino Roy also Midaraisa, which is discussed in many sugyas and shas? We wrote about this in the Kunshus, put out for my son's bar mitzvah, Ayin Sham, Simchas Shmuel. In the Gemara in Ksubis we see that Shchita Shelo Etira Es Habasar Ba'achila Midrabanan is considered shchita ru'uya klapi dinim midoraisa. Yet if a person is mekadesh and isha b'isra hana d'Rabbanan, she's not mekudeshes. So you see that davar she'eino roy midorabanan is considered eino roy even klapi dinei Torah. So why then do we say that a shchita that isn't matir the basar b'achilim midorabanan is considered a shchita klapi dinim d'Oraisa? We see even though it's not Roy Midrabanan, it's Roy Midaraisa, whereas by Mekadesh Isha B'Surei Nadarabanan, not only is it not considered Roy Darabanan, it's also not considered Roy Daraisa. So how are you miyashev? So the chiluk is like based on what we said. That B'dina Matluyim B'Hanhaga. If it's Talo in your Hanhaga Maisis B'Foal, the way you act, so in Torah, we do take into account Dinim Darabanan. Because sof the Torah recognizes Dinim d'Rabbanan. The Torah tells us to follow d'Rabbanan. But the essential nature of this object and not mitzad the person's practical behavior, the D'Rabbanan is not mashpia on the D'Oraisa. And therefore, in Kiddushin, we require that the woman should get something that's Shava Pruta B'Fa'al. And since Midrabanan, it's Aser and Behana, and there's no Shimush B'Fa'al, there's no Shivui B'Fa'al, doesn't have value, she can't use it. She got nothing, even D'Oraisa. She can't use it, Ain Shariot Shar Aleph Yud. So that's why, if you give something to a woman that's not Roy D'Rabbanan, so it's not Roy D'Oraisa, because L'maisa she can't use it, and that's, there it's telling whether you can use it L'maisa. Mashen came when you're discussing a Shem Shchita. You're right, B'Foal, it's not Matir the Basar, but it's still Us D'Rabbanan. But Mitzad Etzem Mahuta Shchita V'Shem Shchita, it's considered Shchita because it's Roi Midin Torah. So we don't need that something be Roi La'achila B'Foal, we just need a Chalos Shem Shchita. So as long as it's a good Shchita D'Oraisa, it's B'Seder, even if B'Foal, you can't eat it. So our Chiluk of Be'etzem, the Mahus and the Befal and Haga Befal answers this kasha of the Marashal. According to this beer, we can be Miyashiv in other kasha that the Machan Ephraim was omen on elsewhere. Kinyan Mos, Simin Yud Aleph. Person is koine metaltlim b'mos, and he didn't do Mashiach, the Midoraisa is koine, Midorabanan he's not koine. Is it considered his Doraisa? Or since the Chom were mevatel, this Kinyan, it's not considered his. Even Doraisa, he brings from the Rambam in Me'ila Vav Yud that a person's notel prutam in a hektish. V'kanaba chefetz mi'Yisrael, person takes something from hektish and he buys an object from a Jew. He didn't do Me'ila. Why didn't he do Me'ila? He didn't do Me'ila because the rabbis were mevatel this Kinyan. The rabbi said, Mos aren't Kona. So if he's Kona Chayfetz from a Jew, there's no Me'ila, because the Maisa, he didn't do anything. The rabbis were mevatel this Kinyan. There's no Me'ila. Because that Mesiras Mos is not effective Midrabanan. We also find the Gabe the Din of Esnan Zona in his Surah Mizbeach, Dalad Yud Gimel, that if a person says to his Zona Yisraelis, have beer with me, and I'll give you this tleh, I'll give you this goat. And she didn't do Meshicha, the tleh is not Aser Mishum Esnan, it's not Aser Mishum Esnan, because it's Mechutzer Meshicha. So you see that the Kinyan Kesef is not even effective Klape Dinim Deoraita. So we see two cases where the Kinyan, the Kesef, is ineffective Klape Dinim Deoraisa. Meidach, the Rambam Paskins Trumatesyu that a Kohen who sells his para to a Jew and he takes money even though he didn't do Mashicha yet, the Jew didn't yet do Mashicha, it's usher to give Truma. Why is it usher to give Truma to this animal? When he was owned by the Kohen, the animal could eat Truma, now he can't eat Truma anymore. So what's the teretz? Teretz is that din Torah is that Mos Konos. So you see the Midoraisa, we learn that it is a Kinyan, even though Midorabanan it's not. So you see a steer here. You see two cases where Midorabanan it's not considered a Kinyan, and therefore it's also is in Tofis Midoraisa. And we see here that no. Since again you see two cases where Midorabanan it's not a Kinyan, even though it's Tofis Midoraisa, it's still no good. Because the rabbis were about to the Kinyan. And yet we see here in Trumas that the Kinyan Dorais is enough. It's already Aser B'Truma. Even though Midrabanan he hasn't been made the Kinyan yet. So how do you learn? So there are Achronim, Oneg Yantiv Simon Chav, hey, others, who explain B'Shitas HaRambam that he holds Kedas Bala Ma'or, that the rabbis weren't Mevatel Kinyan Kesef. They just said that you're allowed to retract. But B'Lashon HaRambam, you see that it's not true. As the Achronim prove, he holds like the other Rishonim, like the Ramban and others, that the rabbis were complete Mevatel Kinyan Kesef. So the other wanted to say that Kape the din of Me'ila, as long as Chazara is possible, it's not Me'ila, and also like Kape the din of Esnan. So there, the fact that Chazara is possible, it means there's no Me'ila, there's no Esnan. Mashain came when it comes to selling his para with money. So there, the fact that you could be chozer is not enough to be mevatel. Rather, you look at the daraisa and you say, "Midaraisa it's sold," and therefore, when the moment he buys the animal, Yisrael with money, he can't feed it. So that's an arichos of the onig yantif. But anyway, that answer doesn't hold water because B'loshen Rambam, it seems that he holds not like that. He holds that the rabbis were mamish mevatel kinyan kesef. So if the rabbis were mamish mevatel kinyan kesef, how do you explain the fact that a Kohen that he sold his parah to Yisrael and he takes the money, even without Mashiach, he's not allowed to give it truma? Why? Rabbis were mevatel kinyan kesef. So based on what we said, we can explain beautifully that linyan me'ila, it's totally bekinyan befoal. Did it go out of the Rishus Hekdesh befoal, or did it not? So since befoal mos are not koneh, practically speaking, it hasn't yet left Rishus Hekdesh. V'chein linyan esnan zona. Since befoal schirus ha'peula, renting her for her services, is not chal an nitzleha mesuyam below meshichaso, without the meshicha, it's not considered a proper rental, and he can give her something else b'schara. So midaraisa, the tle is not an esnan because lamaisa, she is still standing and being toveya her schar, and she hasn't yet been paid. She says, I need to be able to use it, I can't use it. There it's totally in the Kinyan Kaspo, which is bailus be'etzem, like lachem and lulav. So midoraisa, the parah is shaykh to Yisrael after he makes the Kinyan Kesef. So again, you see this yisod that sometimes it's talui in the hanhaga befoal, and sometimes bailus be'etzem. So that is a big yisod, and Emir Tzashem b'siyata d'shmaya, in the next shir, the concluding shir of this three-part series, we will hopefully explain how we started the Arba Minim, the din of Arba Minim, and we'll give ourselves a bracha. We should be zocheh to complete the shir, and lilmo du l'lamed lishma v'las l'kayim v'skol b'yisam v'torah tzvi haba amen v'amen. Shalom, shalom, sweetest, most beloved friends.